just getting underway. Literally a few hundred yards and we'll be at Gayton Junction. There is a services there. We're going to stop and get rid of the rubbish and top up with water because Chris has got the bedding she wants to wash today. So it's only a little short cruise through Blisworth Tunnel, hopefully more up at Stoke Bruerne if we can get a mooring there. But for now, the weather's looking good, although they are forecasting rain this afternoon, so hopefully we can get moored up before the rains arrive. So there we go.
It's a relatively short run this week. After filling up with water and emptying the rubbish at the services at the junction, we turned at Gayton Junction and continued down towards Blisworth Tunnel. Through Blisworth Tunnel, and it's just a short run into Stoke Bruerne.
Well, that's it. This is definitely new waters for us now because we've not been down this way. So just on our right is Gayton Marina, and then we just continue south. Next attraction is Blisworth Tunnel. Yeah. And that's a pretty impressive sky up ahead, looking a bit black, and they are forecasting thunderstorms apparently, although I haven't seen it in the forecast.
Horn coming up. You were warned.
At 3,076 yards, or 2,813 metres long, Blisworth Tunnel is the third longest navigable canal tunnel in the UK, after Standish Tunnel and Dudley Tunnel. Work began in 1793, but errors by the contractor left a wiggle in the tunnel, and 14 men lost their lives during its construction.
You're working through a tunnel in the dark, and there isn't any light, not a spark, but you're legging anyway, all without the light of day, charging 1 6 each way in the dark. They go through the tunnels in the dark. It's a proper kind of job, not a lark, but it isn't any fun when you cannot see the sun and you're legging 30 ton in the dark.
Chain if you want.
Go on that ring, it'll be about right.
Yeah.
I was going to say you could go off my chain if you're right.
Oh, it's nice to get off anyway.
Yeah, it's just you end up with a git gap otherwise, didn't you?
But that's it, and that's what we're trying to avoid, isn't it? You don't.
There's a boat came up last night. This was full last night, and there's a gap there because the guy in front didn't want to get too close. And I went, well, and the boat came out, he couldn't get anywhere.
That's right, yeah. We had that at Red Bull Services. We asked a guy to move 2 foot. No.
No.
Well, it's threatening to rain, and we're now at the top of the Stoke Bruerne locks, and there's a free house which is open. Very tempting. There you go, Charlie, you got your own hire boat fleet there, mate. There's the trip boats. At the end of this terrace is the actual Canal Museum. Now I will go in, I think, but one of us will have to stay outside with Smudge because he's not allowed in there. So in the early days of the canals, the locks were single locks, as is depicted by this now redundant and abandoned lock. This is an old working boat. It's obviously a steel hulled one, and you can see the original lock gates at the end there. Very early form of locks, these. However, towards the end of their days, the canals needed to be competitive, so they needed bigger boats with bigger cargoes. and newer, wider locks like this one were built. In the days before the NHS, and boat people were treated like water gypsies, there was no hospital or doctor care for any of the working people. And this building here on the end is Sister Mary's surgery. She used to tend to the health needs of the boaters in the day. She became very popular with the boating people, and they would bring all their ailments and their illnesses to her for treatment.
Sister Mary once said, "You can't take me away from boat people. There isn't one of them wouldn't die for me, or I wouldn't die for." She was born on the 4th of April 1884, the daughter of a rope and twine manufacturer. She was never professionally qualified as a nurse, but she spent 10 years travelling as what's known as a nursing sister in convents in Europe and the USA before returning home to nurse her sick father. This brought her into contact with the boat families again, many of whom she'd known when she was growing up. She said, "People think my boat people are dirty and crude and want to get rid of them, but they are wonderful, proud, wise people." She retired in 1965 and died 7 years later in 1972 and was buried in the Baptist churchyard in Rode.
Now this building is the lock cottage, where the lock keeper would have kept. And a very famous lock keeper of Jack James. He was a lock keeper between 1947 and 1963, and he used to live there and maintain the locks on these hereabouts. Conveniently placed next to the boat inn is the leggers hut. Now before the days of motorised boats, boats had to be legged through the tunnel, and leggers used to have to stay on the roof of the boats on a board and literally push the boats through the tunnel using their legs. And this is where they would collect, ready to go through the tunnel, which is literally just where we've come through.
I'm a working boatman, I travel far, deliver you coal wherever you are, with me horse and me body, work for me pay, never give up till the end of the day. Jogging along, singing a song, what's round the next bend we'll know before long. Me hand on the tiller, I'll whistle and sing, canals of old England carry me on. Me boat's a beauty, all 70 feet, straight as an arrow, painted so neat. Her name on the side, a cratch of bright red, roses and castles all round me head. Jogging along, singing a song, what's round the next bend we'll know before long. With me hand on the tiller, I'll whistle and sing, canals of old England carry me on.
Wondering where the horses go while the boats are being legged through the tunnel? Well, here we are. This is the horse road. Coming up from the canal by the entrance to the tunnel, and runs all the way along there, and we'll rejoin the canal at the other end of the tunnel. And this is the view the horseman would have had as he was going up the horse road. There's the tunnel entrance, and interestingly, I hadn't noticed it, but this end of the tunnel, the south end, the brickwork is red. But if we review the footage of us going into the tunnel from the north end, it was blue. Here's the blacksmiths. And it looks like it's in operation still today. At one point the tunnel collapsed, and £4 million was spent restoring the tunnel. And this is a section in the middle of the tunnel to show you how it was built. If you recall, as we were coming through the tunnel, there were angled sections peeping out at the water line. Well, that's what you're seeing there. Everything from that point towards me was underwater. This is the blacksmith's workshop, or the old tug store, not the stables. So how did they dig the tunnels in? Because they obviously didn't just dig through the hill. Basically, for this tunnel, 20 shafts were dug using a plumb line and a row of sticks that lined up. At each stick they dug a shaft down to a certain level, and then from there they tunnelled out in either direction from the shaft to the next shaft until eventually the whole tunnel was opened. Well, there you go, folks. That was just a short trip, and beautiful place is Stoke Bruerne, as you saw there.
I'm standing this side because if I stand there, I've got a spider out the top of my head.
There you go.
Hello. And there's Jan just waving to us from the other boat.
More on that in a later vlog.
Yeah, because we're not
we're not actually at Stoke Bruerne. We're actually at a place called Wallingford on the River Thames.
Yeah.
And a beautiful place it is too. But that's another story and another vlog
Yes,
later.
this one was.
Stoke Bruerne was a beautiful place. It's a lot of history there. Yeah. And I could have made a whole vlog just on the history of Stoke Bruerne.
My favourite part of that was going around the museum.
Yeah.
And then taking Smudge through the woodland walk with all the willow sort of animals. Sort of, I think there was a horse and cart and little pigs. And it was really pretty. It was lovely walking through
nice.
that.
Yeah. So if you're ever through that way, Stoke Bruerne's a must stop. It really is nice. So there you go. Anyway, enough waffling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thanks very much for watching, folks. Don't forget the subscription because it's absolutely free. Yeah. Don't forget to give us the thumbs up. That gets us noticed in the YouTube world and does help our channel. And the bell for notifications for another vlog. So usual stuff, as we say. So do take care, look after yourselves, and we'll see you next time on Life on Board Amy Joe.
Bye.
Bye.
Till I'll whistle and sing, canals of old England carry me on, jogging along, singing a song. What's round the next bend we'll know before long. With me hand on the tiller I'll whistle and sing, canals of old England carry me on.